I think most and people who know what's going on, I think they're sick of getting lied to by people on the left. They're sick of getting lied to by people on the right. They're just sick of government politicians all around. I think that's one thing that everybody can unify is they're sick of getting lied to. They're sick of promises not being made. They're sick of things going on under the surface that we don't know about, and they're sick of feeling like their opinion, their thoughts don't matter, and the future of their country doesn't matter. And I I think that the upcoming election, the 2028 election, is going to be the time when an independent is most likely to win. I really, really hope that somebody runs that is just almost like a normal person, because these people that become these presidential candidates, these are not normal people. These are people crazy enough to be in front of a camera all day to get hate, to try and run the country, whoever wants that responsibility or whatever that means, to try and deal with all these crazy other people. These people, they're crazy. You have to be crazy to want to be the president nowadays. You're more of an actor. You're more of a person that just has to shove down all the crap that you deal with and then just say this, just say these lines, say these words and keep the message across. I mean, how absolutely nuts is that? Nobody wants to be that. No normal person wants to be that. I think that's why it's tough for somebody normal, somebody with a heart, that really knows what it's like to be a normal person in this country, to be in a class in this country. And I was personally hoping for JD Vance because I know about his upbringing and where he came from and stuff like that, but he just seems to already be indoctrinated into this system of lying, of keeping a certain message across, of being a politician. And I just don't think it can come from either party because, you have to be vetted in order to become a certain person in this and even get, into the running and whatnot. So I really hope that it's just a normal person, a good person, somebody who isn't, who doesn't seem like an actor. And what's unfortunate about a person like that is that it's like, they shouldn't be trying to make excuses for any poor behavior that they've had in their life. These presidential candidates, they'll get something dug up and they'll say, oh, this and that never happened, this and that. But what's unfortunate about a regular person, somebody who's actually speaking the truth, is when somebody says something about them that they did wrong or something that people didn't agree with, they're a good person, what they're going to say, yeah, I did that. I did do that. And that wasn't good. And I learned from that. And they're going to tell you that. And unfortunately, people are just like, oh, well, did you hear what he did? And he said he admitted to it and this and that. But like, that's a normal person, like these, it's that's the kind of person I want. I want a person who messed up in their life, that did something, but then is accountable for it. That's accountable for it. And just imagine a normal dude, and you've got these billion-dollar candidates with billions of dollars behind them and funding and this and that and all this foreign money coming into them and investment. And we want you to be the president. And then there's just some normal dude. I don't care what race you are. I care as long as you're an American. That's literally all I care, and that you care about Americans. You care about this country. I don't care. I don't care, and that's the most important thing for me. I care that you are a person who has their soul and wants to keep their soul and doesn't want to lie to 300 million people, lie to the rest of the world. That's what's important to me, because it would just be so awesome to see some average Joe, some dude who cares, who's a nice dude. What I kind of envision, and this is kind of just like, it's more comedical, is just like a hippie dude, with like he's got like long blonde hair, and he's got like a tie-dye head wrap or whatever. And he's just like, yeah, man, I just think, we just need to be all right, man. But like, how refreshing and how awesome that would be if a dude like that was in the White House and he was just like, no, I don't want to do that. I think instead of sending that money there, why don't we try to help out people here, man? Because, like, yeah, that's somebody I want, you know? But let me know what you guys want, and let me know what you guys think is going to happen in the 2028 election.